What's up, my crew? This is episode number 16 of the Big Lou podcast. My name is Big Lou, and on the Big Lou podcast, we talk about my journey as an independent artist, the lessons that I've learned, the takeaways, the strategies that I implement, the thought process behind the scenes, and hopefully you can take some knowledge away from it too and apply to your own careers or just find a little bit of entertainment from this as well because I try and be a little bit of fun. Sometimes I speak by myself. Today's episode is going to be by myself, but the next couple of episodes I've got some guests on, which is going to be very exciting. We'll be talking to Chad Wickham from Vibe Kings Entertainment, and we'll be talking to Brad, who has already been on this podcast. He's going to be coming on. We're going to be talking a little bit more about the Lewis Hamilton music video, which we're planning as well. But for today's episodes, I'm going to take you on the behind the scenes of Mindset Go, what went wrong, what went right, the day of specifically. I've got a couple of episodes where I was talking about leading up to the event and perhaps what I would do differently. Overall flow, but here I want to go specifically the day of the logistics because I thought it was a lot of fun. And there's some things that I would do that day, make it a better experience. Those of you that don't know what Mindset Go was, it is a keynote concert that I did in November of 2025, where we had motivational speakers come together, Saidat Abari Vandenberg, and then our third speaker is Cynthia Aguiar, who was a phenomenal speaker. As always, she's the body approach speaker. Recently won, at which organization, but best coach in this region. Super dope. Congratulations. They're both out here achieving very cool things. So if you want to check out a little bit more about the keynote concert, um, I have some other episodes and I will be posting a little bit more content in terms of like videos that we captured that night. I recently got them from Raw Ed, which is very exciting. I reviewed them all and I'm happy with it. We went back and forth as you do. Um, when you're working on creative projects, it's important to be open to feedback and suggestions and landing. All parties are happy, and that's what we did. So very excited to share that with you guys soon. But let's jump into the actual day, which was a lot of fun, a lot of energy. I went to bed relatively early the night before, got some good rest. I was hydrated, making sure that my body was prepared for what was coming. Before, while running events, I was usually a little bit more nervous, and so I wouldn't sleep as well. But I've been doing it now more frequently and more comfortable with the whole concept. So I get better sleep beforehand. But my point here is just try and get the rest that you can, um, in order to execute at the level that you're trying to. Um, because rest is definitely super important and is very productive. And I know you can't always get it depending on the circumstances that you find yourself in. But for this occasion, I was able to get some good rest, which is beneficial. I did wake up early, and I had some running around to do before I even got to the venue in terms of like printing some stuff. Uh, uh, yeah, just small, tiny errands here and there. But it didn't take too long, and I made it to the venue. I want to say at 11:30. Um, and I was the first one there. The people that were working at the venue were able to set up what I had requested, which was seating for 150 people, and we didn't sell nearly that many tickets. We were probably like 30 tickets sold. But I knew we would be selling more throughout the day, and I knew people would be coming at the door as well. And so I had to pare down the setup of 150 people down to 75 people, and that involved moving all of those chairs out of the room, big round tables where 6 to 8 people had to like pick them up, fold them, roll them out of the room as well. That we had a little bit more space, and everything was a little bit closer to the front of the stage so that it looked more compact and felt more full. Um, but that took about an hour and a half, I want to say, um, because it was a lot of work, a lot of running around, and I was doing that by myself, while also like messaging other people that were planning to come in later in the day to begin their setup, um, in terms of like vendors or speakers or whomever else, audios, that kind of stuff. Um, and so it was a little bit stressful. I feel like I should have had someone else there with me, um, and or sell more tickets so that you don't have to tear down what you were setting up. Um, I suppose in hindsight, I should have, if I knew I would have communicated the venue with enough time, probably 24 hours, 48 hours ahead of time. Um, Proper time is, but at least 2 days. Imagine it. Let them know that the setup is changing, that we need a smaller amount so that they don't put it all out. I have to tear it down myself. If it comes to the point of tearing down, having someone a lot of energy that you want to use, engaging with there at the event in terms of your actual performance as well, whether it's the speaking part or the music part, because both of those things translate and create an impact too. But so does the setup, which is quite interesting. I just want to turn that up just a little bit. um, but yeah, getting more people there obviously is always the goal for people. Although unless you want something more intimate, um, but I feel like you tend to try and find a venue big enough to fit what you're looking for, and then you want to sell it out. You don't want to like have a half sold venue because it feels empty, and that does change the ambiance. Um, but you live and you learn. Perhaps maybe even consider a different venue as well. Now that I have some footage in here and I have experience there, it's a cool spot. But perhaps working with someone else or doing the same thing, seeing what it is, um, a second time around. But I made sure to get there early because I knew that things were gonna need to be done, and I just didn't know how or what entirely. So I'm happy that I did because I spent about an hour and a half, like I mentioned, rearranging and tearing everything down, um, which is tough. Uh, as I finished that, other people began to show up, which was nice. But also it began to pull me in different kinds of directions, in terms of what I had to do. Um, but the funny thing is I had to continue to prepare myself, but also I had to help prepare everyone else so that they knew what was going on, so that they can execute and be prepared for the event, which was beginning at 5 p.m. Um, and not everyone showed up on time, so prepare for that. People are gonna show up late every single time. I'm pretty sure. And it's nothing against the people, just life happens. If possible, if you're going to be a vendor or a sponsor or someone that you're part of an event, plan to try and get there early, because it helps. But I understand that sometimes it just doesn't work that way. But it just added an extra layer of challenges, um, for myself as the event organizer to get things fully prepared for when we wanted to open at 5. Um, but we made it happen. We made it work. We made it. We pulled all the strings together. We had all the vendors come through. I had some support from Cynthia. She's one of the speakers and a partner of mine throughout many of the events that I've done. I had Aria come through as well, and she acted as an assistant. And then I also had Anna Marie come through, and she acted as, in part, a event planner of sorts, which was dope and helpful. She oversaw the food and some of the decorations, so I didn't have to think about those elements. Um, and between the three of them, a lot of the decorations and ambiance was set, and myself included. And then I also got to work closely with each of the vendors, sponsors. I call them a vendor sponsor because they were able to sell their stuff, but also they were sponsoring the event. Um, and they were each able to come in and set up and do their thing, collect emails. I had lists printed and prepared so that each of the guests had an opportunity to put down their email, if they found vendor interesting, and or if they were interested in submitting their name for a raffle for a gift giveaway later on in the night, which was very, I want to say, successful, um, in terms of the vendors getting emails and in terms of the guests being happy with the giveaway at the end of the night. It also gave the guests something to do when they arrived. That said, I feel like I should have done a little bit more for the VIP guests when they arrived. But we'll get into that in a little bit. Um, because I was, I suppose, a little bit behind in terms of what I needed to do, and some people were arriving late and on their own time. Um, I found myself still at the venue at 4:15, um, when we were opening doors at 5 o'clock, and I didn't go home to shower or get myself ready. Um, and 4:15 quickly turned to 4:30, and the speakers and some of the other people that were there, they're like, "Yo, I feel like you have to go now." And so I made my way home. But as we know, between 4 to 6 traffic time, so it took some time. I didn't make it back to the spot until 5:30. But everyone was in their place, and they knew what to do. So they were able to hold things down, keep it on lock, and keep everyone entertained and happy up until the point when I was able to arrive, and then kick things off. Soon after that, we began the VIP experience, which was fairly simple this time around. I want to make it a little bit more elaborate, um, but we were able to do a little bit of a Q&A with the VIP guests, um, for Saidat, Cynthia, and myself. And Saidat and I collaborated on a song which is unreleased. You can't hear it anywhere yet. But we collaborated on a song. We actually haven't even recorded it yet, but we practiced it, we rehearsed it, and we performed it for our VIP guests at the beginning of the show. Um, the rough idea was to have performed it at the end again for the whole group, but we didn't because we ran out of time. But we did do what we set out to do, for the VIP guests, and that was a cool experience. They really enjoyed it. People were vibing, um, but it was kind of spread out. People were sitting down, and we were on the stage, so it's kind of removed. So the energy was kind of dispersed. If we were to do it again, I would have them in a smaller space so that we're more together. It was dope in terms of that. Uh, so we worked with each other. I was also gone, so I was able to connect with the staff of the venue before I left, so that they were all on the same page of what was happening. We had a couple of security guards, and we had, I believe, four server slash supervisor staff, that the venue provided. Obviously, we had to pay for their time, so prepare for that in your budgets. Um, I think it was about $25 per person per hour. So that adds up too. But you know, they also help contribute to make the night smoother. If it was busier, we would have definitely needed all four. Because it was a smaller group, we probably could have gotten away with two. But it was better to be prepared, and I don't know, it's just part of the process of taking these events, or of doing these events. It's part in part risk, and but it's a lesson learned every time, and it's an experience, and the things that the growth that comes from it, I should say, is always worth, well, for the most part. Not always. You never know what you're doing. Well, you do sometimes. Anyway, I'm rambling. Um, but then the event started. We did the VIP experience, and then Cynthia was able to kick things off with her body based approach talk. Super cool. He set the mood right. Everyone was kind of like, coming home from, or coming home from their long day at work or wherever they were. That the energy, um calm things down, and then kick things off with her talk, which was magnetic. And then it was a good flow. I introduced her, and then I went to the back to hang out my table where I had my merch set up. Um, and I also had a collection list, but everyone bought tickets through my website, so I have everyone anyway. But to play the part, um, so I was hanging out there while the speakers were speaking, and then after she went, Sidat went. I went up again on stage. Thank Cynthia for delivering her presentation. I had to introduce Sidat as well. I want to shout out Cynthia though for preparing the bios for each of the speakers. I didn't do that ahead of time. She did, and she printed that out. Printed a couple of other resource documents as well. That was huge. And then Arya held down the front while guests were coming in. The information that they needed. She pointed them in the right direction. Um, checked people in on the tickets, and she gave each of the guests a little gift, a keychain gift, um, as a thank you for coming out, which was really cool. And so all those pieces came together. Um, yeah, so Saidat did her presentation. That one was very dynamic. It was very music inspired as well. Um, very interactive. She was amongst the audience doing her thing, which was a lot of fun to watch. I was in the back again at my booth. And then once she finished, Cynthia went up on stage to thank Saidat for what she did. Then she introduced me, where so I came on, so I got to do my thing. Um, my speech probably should have been a little bit shorter. I think that's why we went on a little bit longer than we had anticipated. But I don't know. I should have been more rehearsed, I suppose. Um, I should have had a timer up on stage so that the speakers could see it, or some kind of timing communication system that maybe Aria could have done as an assistant. And I did plan for this, but I didn't prepare for it. Um, or I didn't prepare it. I planned for it, prepare it. So that's something else that I would do in the future, to make it a smoother process and to make sure that we all stayed on schedule. Um, but after that, we all got up on stage as the speakers, and had Anna Marie act as a moderator for the Q&A, for the question and answer period. Had a couple of guests ask us some questions, which was always nice. Anna Marie had some questions that she prepared for us as well, just in case we didn't receive guests, and stimulate the conversation. Um, uh, so that was fun. We were able to take some photos as a group, capture the memory as proof and evidence that it happened, that it was real. And then we document the growth from there. So I'm grateful for that. We had a couple of different components that helped make the whole event come together as well. I did mention DJ KZ earlier. She is Saidat's partner. They work together as children's entertainment at schools across Canada. Um, and she was able to come out and provide DJ support for us. So big shout out to her for doing that, and playing the tracks for us in between our speeches as well, and kind of coordinating with the sound guy who could work. Okay, well, he is Julie's partner. Julie is another one of our sponsor vendors who came out, and she does her own types of events throughout St. Thomas and a bit London as well. Um, uh, but yeah, shoot, I'm drawing blanks, and this is raw, unedited, pretty much. So if his name pops up, Steve Snow, Steve Snow Sound, there it is. Big shout out to him. Thanks for your help as well. And each of the different vendors. Island Fest. We had Essence and Culture Awards. Had Sally, uh, her her company name. Had Sally, who has jewelry. Say hello. Big shout out to Sally vendors. Spotlight had Nick from Ripple Effect. Had Liz photography. I believe. Oh well, okay. Who also was a vendor together. Oh, and I also want to shout out to our bartender. We had Alyssa from Crazy Bar Queen, who provided us cocktails throughout the nights. Came together to provide awareness, ultimately capture contents in marketing myself, pushing sales so that I can get booked at a conference. If you've been here for this long and know if any that is in the world of attending conferences or planning conferences, planners of the such, I would love to be in touch with them so that I could get hired as a speaker at their events. So I can take this to their stages as opposed to not to say that I won't stages because it is exciting to do so. Uh, but yes, please put me in contact with anyone that you might know about that. At the end of the night, we were packing our stuff. Said goodbye to everyone, saying everyone have some support tearing down, which was awesome. But it was a snowstorm as we were leaving, and I left my microphone stand outside in the parking lot uh, that night, and I didn't realize it until the next morning. Um, um, and so I had to reach out to the staff, and the staff from last night weren't there this morning, and they didn't communicate it properly. So they weren't sure if they found the mic stand, but then later on we found out that they did in fact have the mic stand, so I was able to go and pick it up. Um, but other than that, it was a very smooth tear down. Everyone was happy. We had a good response afterwards, um, and everyone got home safely. So that was good. Um, I would also perhaps have a better funnel for the guests. Um, in hindsight, I mentioned at the beginning in terms of what they had to do when they arrived outside of just interacting with their vendors, and having some music, but perhaps something at the end as well. My videographer, I should shout him out too, Riot, and my photographer, Andy, both were able to capture that night very nicely. And Riot was able to capture some testimonials of people at the end of the night too. But maybe if I had some kind of a funnel system as they were leaving to get more testimonials or something like that, I think good idea too. Um, but that was the day, and overall, I'm happy with it. In terms of finances, I was down, I think $2,000. That's okay. Have support from vendors and sponsors. The London Arts Council came through with a grant as well, so big shout out to them. That acknowledgement, um, along with the City of London, for helping support that project and initiative. Um, I will definitely be planning another one. Uh, and given this experience, I will likely be able to even at least break even on that one, which is a win. Um, Granted, obviously, the goal will become to capture content, but also to profit off of these experiences because they are very impactful for the community as a whole, and people saw it after the first one, which I'm very grateful for. Alrighty, so let's wrap this one up. I am on a mission to get to 500 subscribers here on my YouTube channel. So if you have not subscribed yet and you've made it this far into the episode, please do so. I really do appreciate it. It helps my business grow. It helps me next level. It helps me unlock some cool features, implement and add to my business. So please do that. It means a lot. Um, I'll be releasing more episodes here on my Big Loop podcast frequently. It's looking like it's about 2 a week, but it changes. Depends on how I feel, what I'm doing, what I want to talk about, and all that kind of fun stuff. But I got a good system going on. So that's everything for today. I hope I hope you're doing well, and I hope to see you soon in real life. Ciao, ciao for now. My name is Big Lou. This is episode number 16 of the Big Lou podcast.